Welcome back. We hope you guys are enjoying the holiday season as we're nearing the end of 2023. And actually, on that note, in our last episode, we talked about how Google is closing up the portal to enable the Bluetooth accessibility on your Stadia controllers. Even though that's true, according to their latest revision on the Stadia website, they have updated it to show that December 31st, 2024 will be the date of that closure for the portal. So that should give everyone plenty of time to bring their controller back to life. Yeah.
So not much of pressure there then.
Right. It went from 3 weeks to 12 months. So.
Yeah. Well, we have quite a few Apple topics here. There's some small ones. The first one has to do with an important Apple designer by the name of Peter Russell Clark. He has apparently left the company after 20 years, and if you don't know who he is, because I don't, he is more known for having worked with John Ive on many devices such as the iMac, the iPod Nano, rest in peace, MacBook Pro, and MacBook Air. In fact, his name is actually listed on more than 1,000 Apple patents. And I'll be honest, like I mentioned, I really didn't know of him, and I kind of feel bad because it really seems like he was an essential part in the development of these devices. So I don't know if you're familiar with him, but it's pretty sad to see another long-term employee leave after so long.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with him. I just saw the article earlier this week, so.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't realize he was on that many patents.
No, I didn't know either. The other one is Apple is permanently closing its Apple Royal Hawaiian retail store next month, which has been opened for 15 years. Now, as for the employees at this establishment, they will all be moved to the other two stores in Hawaii, Apple Kahala and Apple Ala Moana. So, yeah.
We don't really get those names up here in the States.
No, not that I'm aware
of. One I can think of is North Lakes, but that sounds more, fancy. The whole Kahala, Mahala, whatever.
Moana.
I better not say anything because that could be cursing in Hawaiian. So
that would be funny if they named a part of their state after a curse word. Gurman has rumored that Apple will be releasing Magsafe in its iPad lineup for 2024. So we've mentioned a lot regarding this lineup, whether that be the M3 chips or a few other named things. But Magsafe, honestly, I'm a little more excited about this. I feel like it's needed. I think that depending on how they go about it, it could be very well set up. So
I'm a little bit on the opposite. I'd hate to dive into this part, but I'm really not that big of a fan on pushing MagSafe on iPads. You said iPads, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, it's just the tablet is so big and everything like that. I mean, I just don't necessarily see the advancement of it because it's not like it's boosting the speed of the charging at all. And it's just, I don't know. That's just me.
Right.
I can see some people being excited about it. Obviously, you're kind of looking forward to it. But
yeah, I
guess it's just a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, I would just push back slightly and just say, like I said, it would depend on how they go about doing it because obviously I think you would need a little bit bigger of an actual wireless charger to do it. And especially with Qi wireless charging, they're going to increase their efficiency anyway. So, yeah, I could see both sides, but yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool.
I was just thinking, like, you said a little bit bigger. I'm like thinking, okay, are they going to use a Frisbee or something here or what?
But, could be. Hey, you never know.
I guess, we'll have to see how that turns out. I think we've heard about rumors about that. We just weren't sure. It looks like it's getting more and more stable as far as how that's going to turn about. But yeah. Another real quick thing in relation to Apple is that they've released a 2.1 update to macOS Sonoma and iOS 17. Nothing really major in regards to the update, purely just a bug fix release. But if you are experiencing any issues on either of those platforms, this could fix that. They also released prior gen updates with iOS and iPadOS 16.7.4. So those are also available for download if you have those.
That's good.
Yep.
And then we move right on to Google. Again, a few minor topics here. First one is Google has apparently been working to differentiate between RCS and SMS text. Simply put, the following images here I'm showing right now show that Google Messages now shows a different wallpaper depending on which you are utilizing. And I think the two images were like a darker color and then a lighter color. So, and apparently you can't change them, and there's no different wallpapers that you can change to. But allegedly, Google will be releasing new ones for you to choose from, but they'll still be dependent on if you're using RCS or SMS. So.
Okay, yeah, because that was gonna be a bummer if like you couldn't change them.
I know.
If they're gonna add wallpaper, you might as well have the option. But at least we know that's coming.
Exactly.
That's cool though.
Yep. And Google is rumored to be releasing a new, more advanced Google Assistant that really heavily hones into the AI side of things. We've discussed a lot this year. Google, Apple, and then maybe even Samsung, especially trying to hone in on the whole AI advancement technology stuff like that. And this has allegedly been coined Pixie and is rumored to be released with the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro. I don't know what this would bring about, and I'm not sure how advanced Google is going with this, but I assume as best as technology can provide, we'll have to see how that kind of shows up. So,
two things came to mind.
Okay, I can already think of one of them.
One, well, you probably are. Peter Pan.
Yeah, yes, Peter Pan.
That was one. The other one is it's a Google take on Bixby.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, I guess except I think this is going to be far better than Bixby.
Oh yeah, 100%.
If you've ever used Samsung phone with Bixby, that wasn't really the most amazing thing.
Even I know.
I'm not saying it was better than Siri by any means,
no.
but they were both kind of had their issues. So
yeah.
Yeah, not really too much of a surprise there. Like you said, we have been talking about that a lot. So I feel like 2023 has been the year of AI, at least predominantly compared to 2022.
For
and
sure.
Who knows how it's going to change in the next year here. But yeah.
Yep. And then the last one is Gmail, and you might like this one as well, JD. Gmail is now making it easier for users to unsubscribe from emails.
Yeah.
We know the dreaded, almost vaguely seeable unsubscribe button that is on an email sent to you, and honestly, it is mildly infuriating, if not very. However, as you'll see in this image, Gmail is now forcing that unsubscribe button to the right next to the sender's name and email. Not only that, but when you hover over the email itself, you will now have that option as well to unsubscribe immediately from there. So this is long overdue. I mean, we've had the same minor unsubscribe button where it's hard to find it since 2014. And I'll be honest, it's been a nightmare for a lot of people. It's been annoying for me when I've been on an email list and I want to get rid of it, but it's just been such a tedious thing to do. But glad Google's kind of getting
scroll down to the bottom. It's
yes,
the small text. Yeah. The funny thing I had when you were talking about how it's long overdue, the funny thing is that they implement small skip ad buttons, but that unsubscribe, they can't seem to make bigger.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. It's ridiculous.
Just counterintuitive, but whatever.
Yep.
Although astrophotography has been on the Pixel phones for a while, Google removed the ultra-wide astrophotography back in 2020 due to quality complaints. Just recently, however, Google has brought back this feature. Currently, it's only available on the Pixel 8 Pro, and I'm personally under the assumption that it will stay at that model. It won't be available on any other ones, just because the 8 Pro sports a 48 megapixel sensor on the ultra-wide.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
And we assume that Google is utilizing pixel binning to provide a higher quality when shooting ultra-wide astrophotography on that model. And as for those who are wondering for the base 9 of next year, in hopes that you could maybe get that feature on the lower end, we don't have any rumors yet as far as more megapixels on the ultra-wide sensor, although I'm sure the 9 Pro will either maintain or exceed the current specs for that ultra-wide sensor. So I'm excited about that one just because I've used astrophotography on the Pixel, but I didn't get to have that ultra-wide effect, or I guess scene. So I know you haven't used any as of yet, but they were really nice. I liked it.
Well, yeah, no, I think astrophotography was a major staple back on the Pixel 4, wasn't it?
I think so. I can't remember the.
I think that's when they
Pixel,
originally added it, but yeah, it's been one of those things where people have been finding it very extraordinary, very helpful, and really fun to use.
Especially if you're Samsung.
We won't get into that, but yes, especially
No, we
Samsung. But no, yeah, I'm glad they added that back. And honestly, I kind of forgot that they actually got rid of that. So, but at least it's on the new one. And I'm glad that they're gonna also upgrade that lens, hopefully, and make it even better. So,
hopefully,
yep. But we'll go ahead and move right along to deals here. The first one we have is the Razer Blade 17. This is the 17-inch laptop with 14th gen Intel CPU. And it's got 1 terabyte of SSD, 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. It was at $3,799, but it's now at $2,299 on Amazon. So
wow.
It's a major deal right there. Yep.
What gen processor?
14th gen.
Wow. i7? Or no, that's an i9, isn't it?
Yep, Core i9.
That's a really good deal, actually.
It is, yeah.
The Pixel Fold is discounted $350. You can get this deal straight through Google, but it is available through other retailers like Amazon and Best Buy. This discount is for both the 256 and 512 variants, and the deal is offered prior to any trade-in deals. You can probably even get it lower than that if you wanted to. So
about time.
Sticking right along with Google, YouTube is making a small revision to how ads are shown. They will begin grouping ads together to create larger breaks, which will reduce the number of ad breaks in a video. In addition, instead of showing the number of ads, it will show the duration that's left before you can skip. Whether or not you're in favor of this, Google released a survey statistic that stated 79% of viewers favored, quote, video ads that are grouped together instead of distributed throughout a video, unquote, which I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, the disappointing side of all this is that, at least from viewers' perspective, you will start seeing ads on your TV between shorts. So, kind of a bummer there, but...
Well, I don't know really anyone that watches shorts on their TV, but...
That's the funny thing I was actually going to bring up. I wasn't really sure how many people actually do that. I'm actually one of them, but
really?
I don't do it that often. Yeah, just because it's kind of fun to watch shorts with my wife and stuff like that, and actually instead of having to send it between Facebook and stuff, you can just see it together.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't do it that often, but yeah, it is something that, we kind of entertain ourselves from every once in a while. So.
I agree with you. I think it's fine. I actually, when I was reading this article, because I did see it, I immediately thought of this idea, and maybe you agree with this as well, that YouTube is heading into the sort of, because like we mentioned the last week, they are becoming a cable type of thing that you can utilize. And so I'm wondering if they're going to start bringing about that type of advertisement where it's going to be, you can't skip it. You have to watch the entire thing or something like that. I don't know. I just get this sense that they might start doing that. Maybe it may not even be right now. Maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 years down the road. But it's just, I don't know. It's just a thought.
Yeah, because I start getting that feeling. I can actually see exactly where you're coming from, because I get that feeling when I'm watching YouTube, especially like with various channels, like you're watching them cook or demonstrate something, or whether they're creating whatever.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like it is TV, and it's like the minute you get a notification, oh, I'm going to watch that episode or that upload or whatever. So, yeah, that does make sense. It would kind of be sad to see it go that way. At that point in time, if you're... It depends on how long it takes to get to, the end where you can actually skip it. So at that point in time, you may as well just have, 15-second ads or something like that, and let's just be done with it. I don't know how that's going to, unfold like you were saying.
I'm not sure.
A little ways off, but yeah, in either case.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's a dreaded nightmare to think about that, but it's probably going to happen. We have rumors regarding what is being coined as the Nothing Phone 2A. This coming from tipster Yogesh Brar, stating that this phone will contain your standard things on a phone you would normally see nowadays. 120 Hz display, dual 50 megapixel camera sensors in the back, Android 14, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 of storage. Okay, maybe a little below average, but basically the same thing as we're seeing. However,
depends on if you're talking about Android or iOS.
Yes, very distinct point there. Thank you, JD. However, there are some major key differences considering this is a more watered-down version of the phone, too. That is, number one, a redesigned glyph system, and instead of using a Snapdragon 8th Gen series, nothing has chosen to go with Dimensity 7200 chip.
Oh.
Yeah. Brock continues on mentioning that the 2A will launch at the Mobile World Congress in 2024. This goes with the fact that nothing has already sent out invites for the event on February 27th, where the Nothing Phone 3 will be launched. The price of this phone supposedly will come to $400. So yeah, Nothing is going down the road of providing lesser versions of the main lineup, which is fine. I'm just hoping that it's not going to be so much of a letdown where you have like a lesser product, like a lesser price, but not a great product. Like I feel like it needs to balance out itself. And I think Apple does a great job with that. That's one thing I will say. When they do lower a version of a phone and lower the price, it equalizes out pretty much, like with the SE. So
yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that SE4 comes out. But
I know I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, that continues to unfold.
It does.
We thought it was going to happen, and then it wasn't going to happen, and we still don't know what's going on. So, yeah, we're beyond that right now, so we're not going to make that any more convoluted than it already is.
It remains to be un-SE'd. I can already tell.
Your original statement, yeah, so the concerns I have would be the the camera sensors and the processor. Mm-hmm. We're at the point where the battery life, I don't really have an issue with it.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily the battery life, but the capacity. I'll specify that because the battery life can be determined on the processor.
True. Yep.
I still have some
doubts.
Skepticism with Dimensity.
Yeah, I could see
just
where
because I'm not really sure. I was expecting you to say, because I actually hadn't read everything on the 2A, but yeah. I was hoping they would go with a 7th gen instead of jumping to a Dimensity. Yeah, it's just gonna be something we're gonna have to see how it unfolds and how it performs. But yeah, really, that would be the main things. Would be the chipset and the camera sensors for me. Outside of that, I don't really think it's going to be a big deal. I think
fair.
The glyphs are going to be great. Nothing OS was really impressive for me once I got the phone too.
I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, that's kind of where I stand. Yeah.
Yep.
In either case, in the latest patch notes from Mojang for the preview of Minecraft 1.20.60.23, there have been multiple fixes and bugs addressed. There have also been some additions such as the neutral mob armadillo, as well as wolf armor, which is used to tame wolves. That said, along with other features and updates, one of the main things that may catch many gamers' attention, specifically on the Microsoft side of things, is the addition of 4K support for Xbox Series consoles.
Oh. Okay.
Now, I'm not a diehard Minecraft gamer. I kind of dip in and out of it every once in a while, so
he's a very creative person.
But you would have thought that this would have been added by now. I'm not sure if that's just a very limited perspective of mine, but that's just how I feel. In either case, I'm obviously in favor of the update and looking forward to when it hits a public release. So,
yeah, to kind of go with the first thing you said, I have actually not been keeping track of what's in the new 1.20 update, and I didn't know there was armadillos and or wolf armor. That's interesting. But to go to your main point, yeah, I think it's a slightly thing that's a little bit overdue. I'm in favor with it, obviously, as well, although I don't have an Xbox yet. But yeah, I don't see a reason why they shouldn't have released that by now. 4K has been, I think, for like, I don't know how many years now. What, 8? Maybe something like that.
I mean, the only thing that I could say to take your position and play devil's advocate is that it's not like the most necessary thing when it comes to Minecraft, because they're not the biggest thing on graphics. So that's the only thing that I feel like they had going for them to,
as to why they wouldn't
keep on with the regular resolution. But yeah, so I mean, outside of that, then I'm just like, I feel like that's more of a standard nowadays than it is, we're finally getting 4K.
I know it's not something to really wonder over or anything like that, because now we have 8K, and then soon it'll be the next thing.
Right.
It's not as exciting anymore, but it's still it still has that touch of being interesting, for sure. But
yeah, yep.
On the next topic, T-Mobile is doing something a little out of the ordinary. They plan to offer some customers the chance to add a free line without prerequisites, with the cost credited back monthly for eligible customers. The offer is limited to bring your own device, which is BYOD, lines excluding phone financing, which makes sense. If you're going to have a free line, you're not going to be able to kind of get into the whole, doing a monthly plan for a phone. That would just be horrible on T-Mobile's part. They wouldn't get any money back. The selection of eligible customers appears targeted, and those with existing free lines may not qualify. To check eligibility, contact T-Mobile or visit their stores, and if their support is unsure as to what you're talking about, refer to the internal document OR 18818. Support representatives will assign eligibility based on the account segment page, and if your account shows an inactive BYOD line discount ID 230289, you'll be immediately ineligible. I don't know what that means necessarily, but there you go. Just some extra information for you to know if that's going to happen or not.
I don't really have anything to say to that. Just
no, it's not like anything
in plans, so it's like, I can't.
I'm not going to get that.
I can't, like,
probably not going to.
Right. So the final news for this episode stems from an ongoing investigation concerning Apple's use of the hardware that powers the blood oxygen feature on various Apple Watch models.
Okay.
That hardware is said to have been originally invented by Massimo Corporation based out of Irvine, California. And as such, Apple falls under a patent violation that elicits the ban from the International Trade Commission of any models that contain this hardware. Oof. Due to this violation, Apple stated that starting December 21st at 12 p.m. Pacific time, they will suspend all sales of the Apple Watch Series 9 and Series Ultra 2, both of which sport the blood oxygen hardware. Now, it's worth noting that this suspension will only impact sales here in the States, as well as the fact that these models will still be available at third-party retailers such as Best Buy, Amazon, and the like, while supplies last. Now, there was hope from Apple that the Biden administration would review the court's order and veto the ban. However, with the latest influx of news, a review has been made and the presidential administration will not intervene. Furthermore, software engineers over at Apple are scrambling to develop a fix for this that can be released via a software update. The problem is, Joe Chiani, the CEO for Massimo, states that due to the fact that the patent infringement is hardware-based, a software fix would not address the violation. Chiani further states that he is more than willing to work with Apple on a settlement, but Apple has yet to reach out to the company concerning this matter. So we will keep you up to date on what's going on and how this unfolds, but, I mean, for now, there's really not too much to comment on other than it is what it is, so.
I feel like this is now the second time this year that Apple has, and maybe they didn't know, maybe they did, I'm not sure, but the second time Apple has done something unknowingly to the fact that's already been a patent or there's already a name for it. I think the other time was with the Apple Vision Pro. That name was already taken from, I think, a Chinese company. I forget what it was called. It was probably a well-known one. But, yeah, that stinks, honestly, though, when you have something. And the question that really irks me, and maybe you were going to say this too, JD, why did it take them this long to realize that their patent was being used, or their technical patent was being used?
That part I don't understand. And I'm not really sure exactly when they switched over to this. So, like, I don't know what Series Watch actually started with this implementation of the hardware. So I would have to dig deeper and research how that works out. That's a good question, though. I don't know why it took them that long. The CEO is under the belief that this was knowingly done by Apple.
Okay.
So I don't know how that necessarily pans out, how much fact there is to that. I think Apple was drawing attention to this with, the suspension of sales in hopes to, say, hey, Biden, can you veto this? I don't know. That's Chiani's perspective. So we'll kind of have to see how that progresses. So.
For sure.
But I agree. Yeah, it is kind of interesting how it took a while. So, and I'm sure more of that will kind of come about, and who knows what kind of rumors we'll get from the court filings on that one.
Not that the Watch 9 was anything incredible anyway, so.
Right, you're just, squeezing your fingers to adjust something. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it would be worse if, it was the first Watch Ultra. Oh, gosh, I would hate to have that.
Oh, yeah.
But, the second gen, there's really not too much change to that one either.
No,
so
there's not. But
whatever. In either case, that will wrap up this week's episode. This is JD and Riley. We will catch you guys in the next one.
Peace out.